Hello everybody, welcome to the channel, J.I. Colorist. My name is Jody and I'm super happy to have you here today, August 4th, 2024, on what is International Owl Awareness Day. Owls are found in many countries, and so the Awareness Day is definitely an international one, and I'm pleased to share with you a picture from Nature's Sweet Moments that is a buddy color with the lovely Be Cozy, and I will link her channel below. So we decided a couple of months ago on this page, because it was Owl Awareness Day, so I knew that it was coming up. So what I have gone ahead and done is the background on this already. Let me turn the lights on. There we go. So I'll tell you what I have done in the background, and then we will go from there and complete the rest of the owl and a couple of the leaves and finish off the leaves up top here on this color and chat video with us today. So to start off with, I'll show you what I used. Got everything here on the side. I'll just get this in frame for you here. I started off with some Meeden acrylic paint in the background. I used a flat brush or a filbert brush to do a kind of a two colors of green. I've got the deep green and the pale green, and I used those together and then separately. So I was kind of going for a foresty background with multiple colors of green. After that had dried, I came in and sponged a little bit of the yellow ochre and also the pale green on top, just to give it again more like the owl is in some foliage, so different colors of green there. I then came in after that had dried and did a little bit of Folk Art Treasure Gold acrylic paint, and again I sponged it on with a sea sponge and just lightly did some. I just wanted a little bit of, I was planning on using some metallic gel pens, so I wanted a little bit of metallic also on top. So there will be some gold in there. And then to do the flowers down here, and I'll maybe zoom you in a little bit to see the flowers, I used some Staedtler pigment pens. So the colors I used were violet, red violet, and plum, and I did some mixing and blending on those, and then this is just the darker color. For some of the lighter colors, flowers here, I used a Spectrum Noir sparkle pen, and this is in the color Peony. For around the edge of the flowers, I pulled out my Uniball metallic in violet, so that's what along the edge is. And the center stamen part on the flowers is a dual hybrid metallic gold. Now this is almost totally out, so then I had to bring in, for these bigger areas in the center, I had to bring in my glitter marker from the Dollar Tree. So those are how I completed those flowers. I'll zoom you down a little bit. For the leaves here, I've been using some Neocolor 2s, and that's what I will continue with up top. So let's go ahead and before we, I guess, leave this area, this right here is the Jelly Roll Metallic in dark green. So that's this here. And then around the leaves up top, I have been using the metallic Signo gel pen. Now I've also been using Neocolor 2s, like I said, so we'll switch up the rest of the page. And so over here, these leaves here, I've got already two coats. So I've done an overall coat of the jade and let that dry, and then I've come in and done a little bit of the emerald green at the base and a little bit more jade if it was light here, just to kind of deepen up the shadows and the depth so that it didn't look so flat. And then around the edge of the leaf, because there was a definite border, I thought I would use the pigment ink, and it is metallic green from the Signo gel pen series. So most of these items did not bleed through, unless I did a little bit extra some of the paint. But otherwise, it's been really good. And this is a single-sided book. Anyways, I did go ahead and put a piece of paper to cover my page, and then pressed a book on top, and I left it overnight after I did the background, just because the page is a little bit warped on the edge, but that will all work out later. So while we're going through this, I thought that first off I'd let you know that this is a great horned owl, and that is how I plan on coloring him. So I will put up on screen some pictures of a great horned owl as I'm going through this, just to show you the colors that I plan. But I thought I would also finish off some of the leaves here with you. Let me grab a water brush and a bamboo cloth here that I can wipe the water brush off, and I'll show you how I have been completing the leaves right here. We'll do a couple together, and then I'm also going to grab the trivia game. We'll go through a few trivia facts about owls, but I'm not an owl expert. I just am an appreciative. I just appreciate owls. My husband has quite a few taxidermied owls that, of course, we did not kill. We found deceased, and then we took them in to get approved from wildlife, Alberta Wildlife, and then had them taxidermied. So I'll show you a few pictures of the owls I have in my house, and yeah, let's get to it. First, I'm using the jade green. These are the Neo Color 2, so these are the water soluble ones. Just adding a bit more at the tips. And let's bring you down a bit. And then on the bottom, so this is the emerald green. The facts about owls, I will have a link to a website in the video description. And just to start off, Alberta's provincial bird is the great horned owl. So you don't need a lot. I'm just trying to get a little bit of definition. Now I'm going to get this is the Kuretake small water brush. It's my favorite. I'm just going to do the tips first. And then I'm going to come in on the bottom, and I don't want to drag it up too far, and then I can drag some down. So I'm just kind of giving it a bit of shadow along the bottom. Because I figure these leaves might be a little bit darker on the one end. And I have already done the metallic pen around them. Okay, so that's how I'm going to complete the leaves. So I'll quickly do these ones. While I finish the leaves, I'll talk about the owl. And the great horned owl is easily recognized due to their horns, which are actually feather tufts on top of their head. So they are quite distinctive. They can be hard to spot though, due to their great camouflage, due to the coloring of their feathers, and the fact that they do most of their hunting at night. If you want a little bit more, I can also sometimes use the tip and get a little bit of pigment, and it's a little bit more concentrated that way. So if you don't want to rub directly onto you can pick it up that way. And that way it doesn't damage your crayon. I just use the end. You just keep working the leaf till you are happy. For the leaves on the bottom, they are going to be a slightly different color. I'm going to use emerald green and then a yellow green from the Neo Color 2 set. I have the 40 set. I should also let you know that the paper is not treated, and I am using the Neo Color 2 directly from the crayon. So there, just add a little bit of yellow green to kind of make a highlight. So again, in this case, I'm bringing the pigment directly from the crayon onto the paper. This paper is not treated. I should have mentioned that. It's not watercolor paper either. And this is the first time I've used water mediums on this book. This is only my second page in this book, so in fact I believe this was one of my books to touch in 2024, so this is the second time I'm touching it. A few more owl facts. We'll start with their breeding. So owls breed in Alberta in between February and March. Then they have eggs, usually 1 to 5 in a nest, and they hatch in April and May. So we're in the middle of the Olympics right now, or well underway anyways, and just wondered if you've been watching and if you've been getting any ideas for your Olympic coloring, and if you've posted a hashtag, don't forget to tag me. I've enjoyed seeing the pictures that I have seen so far, so keep them coming. You have until September the 8th, which is the closing ceremonies for the Paralympics, so you have until then. Back to the egg hatching. So it takes a month for the incubation of the eggs, and the owls do build nests, and they will incubate in the nest. Then the eggs hatch, and they have feathers within about 8 weeks and actually can fly short distances at that time. Okay, I'll finish these 2 other leaves off on my own, and I'll be right back. Okay, and now that I've completed the rest of the page and we just have the owl left to do, I'm actually going to switch to my preferred medium, which is colored pencil, and that's just because I have a lot more control over colored pencil, and I think we've used enough gel pen, blingy gel pen, and water mediums on this paper, and I really just want to color the owl, and so I'm going to grab my trusty Chromos pencils. And this owl is going to be a mixture of browns, blacks, and white, and the eyes are going to be yellow. So I thought we'd kind of do a couple of did you know kind of facts about owls. I am, like I said, not an expert. These are facts that I have learned over the years of loving them, and also just a few notes from the internet. So this is, first off, I live in Alberta, Canada, and we have a variety of owls here. We have small owls such as saw-wheat and burrowing owls. We also have medium owls such as the long-eared and short-eared and long-eared owls. And then we have larger owls, which are the great owl and the great horned owl. So this is a great horned owl, so it would be considered one of the larger owls. And I'm just doing his eyes, and I'm going to make them yellow, and I'm going to add a little bit of orange in there too. Now an owl's eyes actually don't move, which I thought was very interesting. Their head can move 270 degrees, so they can turn their head quite far either way in order to see their prey, but their eyes themselves do not move, and they're always seems to be open, so that's kind of a cool thing to know. And I'm just going to bring in a little bit of, maybe I'll zoom you down a bit. Just deepen up the color on the edges here. And then I'm going to put some glossy accents to make the eyes shiny. And I'm leaving the center pupil area white. Great horned owls can see well in both bright light and almost in total darkness, but they actually have no color vision. They prefer to hunt at dusk and dawn, where colored vision is actually not critical. Their sight is triggered by movement. And the yellow that I had used was cadmium yellow, so 107. And those are his eyes. So owls are mostly nocturnal predators, so they hunt at night. The great horned owl, so this owl here, can hear a mouse under 4 feet of snow. So they live here in Alberta year round, and we have a lot of snow here. So them being able to have a really good hearing, to hear the mice even under the snow is amazing. Okay, let me grab some colors for the owl. Okay, let's start on the face of the owl. Now its beak is going to be gray, so I have a warm gray too. And I'm going to kind of do overall, so bring you down a bit more. And then I'm going to come in with warm gray 4 from the bottom edge and just kind of blend it up. And I'm using a reference photo that I'll show on screen periodically. A few more interesting items regarding the life cycle of the owl. They can fly short distances at 8 weeks, but they stay fairly dependent on their and close to their parents until the end of the summer. I thought about doing this bird in some kind of odd and unusual color just to kind of break out of my normal, but I just couldn't do it to the bird. So okay, now I'm going to I've got my Chromos pencils out here, and so I will call them out as I'm using them. I'm going to actually do the lighter gray, so this is the warm gray 2 on the edge here. So the owl is going to be gray and brown. A few facts about their size. The male owl is considerably larger than the female owl, and the wingspan can be over 4 feet wide. So the hearing, like I mentioned, is very, very good on an owl. And their ears are actually not totally horizontal. One is offset a little, so one is up a little higher, one is down, and they're actually on the side of their head. So these items here are not their ears. Okay, and can do a little bit of gray here as well. Starting with a lighter coat, because I can always go darker with the darker gray, and I will bring that in, but you can go darker, it's harder to go lighter. The lifespan for an owl is 20 to 30 years in the wild. Their biggest threat is habitat loss and vehicle collisions, and also power lines. Now we already have a dark rim around the eye, and I'm now going to come back and bring in, this is going to be gray here. By searching online, you can find out lots of information about the owls, so the rest of the video will be some trivia. And just to kind of mimic some feathers, I'm just going to put some strokes down. The first trivia from I Should Have Known That. Card number 1, question 1. How long does it take for the moon to rotate around the Earth? And I am going to say 21 days, question mark. Now these areas here are going to be darker, and I'm going to switch to my darkest brown, which is sepia, and that is 175. The correct trivia answer is 1 month, or 29.5 days. And I'm coloring in the direction that I anticipate the feathers would be going, so I put down a base of color, and then I'm going to do some strokes. Trivia question number 2. Did the southern states or the northern states oppose the slave trade? And I am going to say the northern states opposed it. And if I'm going to be doing strokes on a page and I want them to be left there, I'm not going to be using Gamsol afterwards, because that would totally blend that up. The answer for the trivia question number 2, did the southern states or the northern states oppose the slave trade? And the answer is the northern states. So 1 right, 1 wrong. And then I'm going to switch to a lighter brown now, and that is raw umber, 180. Trivia question number 3, the idea of zombies can be traced back to what religion? And I'm going to say Catholic? I have no idea. Apologies to all my Catholic friends out there. The idea of zombies can be traced back to what religion? And that is actually voodoo, which I had no idea was actually a religion. So 2 wrong for me, 1 correct. Might as well finish off this trivia card with question number 4. What color is the letter E in the Google logo? And I'm just going to say blue, and the answer is red. So 3 wrong for me and 1 right. How are you doing? This lighter brown is going around the edge of the eye. I'm going to bring in my next brown, which is Bister, 179, and that is a darker brown. Trivia card number 2, question 1. What color are the robes worn by a Buddhist monk? And I'm keeping the darkest color closer to the eye. My answer for what color are the robes worn by a Buddhist monk is orange, and the actual answer for the question is orange. Okay, 1 right, card number 2. Question 2. A woman can visit a gynecologist. What is the equivalent for a man? And I have no idea. There's some lines on the paper that are showing through that I don't like. So I may have to use a bit of Gamsol just in this one area. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but there's obviously some flaws in the paper. And they are not going to be buffed out no matter how many layers. So I will take care of that later. But that is how the one eye is going to look. And now we're going to go to the next dark. So this was darker, so Bister is going to be my next color here. A little bit of the sepia. So trivia question number 2. A woman can visit a gynecologist. What is the equivalent for a man? The answer is a urologist. And if you got that correct, I think you should get some bonus points. The next question, number 3, is what does the acronym UFO stand for? And my answer is unidentified flying object. And the actual answer is unidentified flying object. Finally, I get one right. How are you doing? Dark ridge around the outside. I'm going to put that in now. Question 4, and the last question for card 2. Traditionally, what was the only day of the year that women could propose to a man? And I'm going to say Sadie Hawkins, because we had Sadie Hawkins Day dances in school. I'm going to bring in the raw umber, which is my lightest color. The answer for question number 4, traditionally what was the only day of the year that women could propose to men? The answer actually is Leap Day, which is February 29th. So that means I got that question incorrect as well, leaving me with 2 correct and 2 wrong on card number 2. This is the warm gray 4. Trivia card number 3, question 1. Put these military ranks in order highest to lowest. Colonel, Captain, Major. Let me think about that. Blend it into the warm gray 2. Okay, my answer for military ranks in order highest to lowest is Colonel, Major, and Captain. But the actual answer is Colonel, Major, Captain. Yay! Okay, so I got question number 1 correct. I selected the warm grays because I thought that they have a brown undertone and they would go better with the browns that I was doing. So now I'm bringing in the warm gray 4 and just adding a few dots to mimic feathers. So they're short lines because feathers on the face are going to be very small. The next trivia question is, how long is one period in an ice hockey game? And my answer is 20 minutes. Deepen up the edge a little bit. The answer for how long is one period in an ice hockey game is indeed 20 minutes, so I got that correct. Although I feel like I should point out that ice hockey is Canada's national sport, so I hope that I did know that one. At the end of this video, you will find pictures of the front and back of each of the trivia cards I am reading. I'll go ahead and do this side, and actually, well, let's finish off this area under here. And let's use our latest color, Raw Umber 180. Trivia card 3, question 3. In what city can you cross the Golden Gate Bridge? And I'm going to say San Francisco, and that is a city I visited as a child. And this is Stark Sepia. The answer for question number 3, in what city can you cross the Golden Gate Bridge, is indeed San Francisco. So that is 3 correct for this card for me. Just bring you back to show you how it's doing. I did use a bit of Gamsol and blended out everything. I've also brought in a cream color to just add a little bit of a lighter hue to this whole area. So I just thought I'd bring you back while I had that out, and so that you don't miss any of the steps. The owl's face and eyes are the biggest draw for me. So I'd like to get it as accurate as possible. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, finishing off the top of the owl, I'm bringing in the raw umber 180, which is the lightest color. And then the darker color, which is 179, and just at the back and bring it forward. Just for some depth. Help with the appearance of the head being not flat. And for the rest of the owl, we will use the grays and the browns throughout the rest of on the body. Okay, there we go. That is the owl's head. Okay, on screen I will post a different picture of an owl so we can see more of the body. And I've also pulled out my white Chinese white derwent drawing and a number 1 warm gray 270. So added a couple extra colors because I do want this area right here to be some light. So I'm going to start off with the warm gray 1 because I used warm gray 2 above there. So I'm gonna do the top of this. And then I'm going to bring in the Chinese white. And I might just use some a metallic and make these a little bit blingy. Our last trivia question for today is, what do you call a match, especially a soccer match, between two teams from the same town? And my answer is, I don't know. So for all of these chests, these area right here, I'm going to do the same. So along the edge of the feathers, doing the gray so it looks like a shadow. The last answer to our trivia question, what do you call a match, especially a soccer match, between two teams from the same town? The answer is a derby. If you got that correct, congratulations. Well done. So that is that area. This little flower kind of thing looks very much like the one on top of his head. So I'm actually going to do the same. So I'm going to do some gray and then the 2 browns. The rest of the quiet time will be filled with music. Thank you for participating in the trivia. I should have known that game. I got 6 out of 12, so not a great result for this week, but I did have fun and I learned a little bit too. Go ahead and comment below your score if you were keeping track. And that's that area. I'm going to add a little bit of shadow along there. Okay. Now this area has a bit of paint on him, so I'm going to have to go with a darker color to kind of get rid of that. Sometimes it's a little hard to control where the sponge leaves paint, so that's okay. All right, let's do just gonna mix up do some sepia and then the lighter color on top. These are supposed to be feathers, and we'll actually do some gray. And from gray 4 to gray 1. A little bit of brown there too. So a little bit darker underneath. And then my lightest brown, which is 180. And I am leaving a bit of white of the paper because it's a multicolored feather. This is gray number 1. So this is gray 1. Then we're going to go up to gray 4, and then I'll blend with gray 2. Now let's pick colors for our next row. And remember, these are already done. Let's do these shadow areas in the darkest gray. I'm going to do the feathers similar on this side that I did right there. So I'm going to be using the sepia and the raw umber, and then some gray and white. Now these feathers here look similar to this, so I'm going to switch it up a bit and have a, we'll do some gray. So we'll do the lightest gray along the bottom of the feathers, and then they'll get darker as we go up. And the Chinese white. Before I go off and finish these side ones, I thought we'd do these center ones, and we're going to stick with the gray. So this is the gray 4. Underneath here is going to be gray. This is the gray 2. And the gray 1. And then we'll finish off with the white on the very bottom. Just deepening up the shadows a little bit here. Okay. Now I will come back with you after I've done these ones, and we will do the claw together. Since I'm doing something a little bit different here on these feathers, I thought I'd bring you back. I'm showing you a picture on screen of an owl that is looking head on, and you can see that some of there is already, Illustrator had done these lines along here to indicate some banding on the feathers, so I am just trying to work with that. So I have done the sepia at the top of the banding, and then I have come in with the 180, which is raw umber, and I'm going back over the sepia and then extending it down and leaving just a little bit of a white line and above the black, so that there will be some natural banding there. So leaving a little bit of white, and then the Illustrator's line will break the rest of that up. And if I don't think it's dark enough, I can come back in with the Bister 179. If I've just got a few spots that are a little bit too light, and fill those in. And that'll just help you also see the white banding a little bit better. If I fill it in right underneath. And that's how I'm doing that. I'll also show you on screen the pictures of our owls that we have here. And my husband made all of the cases that the owls are in, so they're well protected and they don't get dusty. Okay, here's how our owl is looking. Quite happy with how he is turning out. What I am going to do about the little spots there, I've decided I want him to be a little bit blingy, since there's quite a bit of metallic. So I'm going to use the Stardust Clear, and I'm just going to put some clear on these so they will not be shockingly obvious, but they will kind of sparkle a little bit. So that is the clear, and there's also one spot down here. And now all we have left to do is his feet. Okay, here we are zoomed in, and I will show you on screen a couple of pictures of some talons, the owl's feet. They are their hunting mechanism, so they are extremely important. They are super powerful. They have 2 toes in the front and 2 toes in the back. So I'm going to use my dark sepia, and I'm going to leave a little bit of a highlight on top, so that it's kind of mimic it being a little bit shiny. Now the rest of my owl is gray and brown, so I'm not going to be introducing new colors. So I'm going to take my lightest gray, and it's going to be on the bottom. So I'm going to run a line along the bottom. So this is gray number 1. And then I'm going to come up with gray number 2. And then my darkest gray, which is gray 4, I'm just going to go along the edge. And that's just to help with the making the image 3D. I'm going to come back in with my gray number 2 and make sure that those are all blended in. And then you can also come in with the white just to and this is gray 1 to blend everything in again. All right. I hope you've enjoyed today's trivia. I hope you learned a few facts about owls, and I hope you enjoyed seeing me complete my favorite bird. Let me just zoom out. This is a page from Nature's Sweet Moments by Jane Maday, and this is my completed owl. Final look at how our page has turned out. Thank you so much to Be Cozy, my buddy colorist. You can check out her Instagram page to see her completed picture, and also later in the month with my completed pages video, I will also include Bee's picture then. Happy with how this page turned out. There is a little bit of shine and bling to the page. I think that the owl turned out lovely, and I think that the colors really worked. I was trying to go for some different colors and some different mediums in today's on this page, trying to break out of just using colored pencils. I think I did that. Of course I used color pencils on the owl, but the rest of the background was fun to use some mixed media on it. All right, here's where I'm going to leave you for today. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a creative and colorful week, and I will see you back here next week for another video. All right, take care. Bye-bye.